Hello, welcome to the Shed Sessions episode 2. My name is Jono, owner and operator of Capulis Roastery. What I want to talk about tonight is the good old filter coffee. Right? It is by far the most fun way to make coffee, in my humble opinion. Right? Because you can just do anything with it. You can choose to do it fast, you can choose to do it slow, you can choose to do a fine grind, a coarse grind. Look, there are guidelines which we're going to go through, but honestly, right, it's totally up to you. Whatever you want to do, it's good fun. Right. So I'm going to share a few tips for espresso, for cafe users and home users, and you're going to love filter coffee after this video. All right, so what we're going to use tonight is this little beauty here. It's Chemex. It's great. It can be used with a pour over. It can be called a pour over. It's just a filter coffee vessel. It's what we're going to use. So this is the first thing you're going to need. You can pick them up from any good store, coffee shop, any good coffee shop, any good trading store, chef's hat, anything, anywhere. From me even. You can buy them from capulisroastery.com.au. Not a plug there at all. That's number one. The other thing you're going to need is your paper filter. You can get them in quite a few different ways. This one is basically, it's a doily, really, but it's made from really fine paper, and fold them up, make it into a triangle. They come in lots of different shapes and sizes, but basically what you do is want to make a cone filter. And some of them come pre-folded and some of them don't. So this one did, I just folded it again to fit in this size Chemex, like so. Yeah, we're ready to start making coffee. Alright, so after I've got my cone filter in, I've just got some hot water from the coffee machine, and I've just poured that straight on. Right, now that makes the filter stick to the sides, it wets the filter, and it warms up our vessel, warms up the Chemex. Basically, you can't make filter coffee that's going to stay hot unless you have a proper heated up vessel. So, next step. Now, the reason why I used water straight out of the coffee machine is because there is a big, huge filter before the pump of the coffee machine that is there to do that one thing, to filter the water. So you see some places they use a kettle, at a cafe, totally fine, your choice. But honestly, you're just going to get great filtered water straight out of your coffee machine. At home, use your kettle, it's totally fine. A lot of people nowadays have filtered water straight from the tap. So, get around the filtered water, boil it up, let it sit for a second, and preheat. Alrighty. Okay, so I've got my Chemex here preheated, ready to go. Got my kettle, ready to go. Now, the coffee. I've already pre-ground this for the sake of this video. But, right, 20 grams gets you a really nice tasting coffee. You can use whatever beans you want. Theoretically, you can use whatever roast you want, but the general rule of thumb is that the lighter the roast, the better it is for filtered coffees. Now, awesome tip number one. This is awesome tip number one. If you're at home and you're doing this, and you can't be bothered weighing out every this, that, and getting it down to the 10th of the gram correct, because if you want to be consistent, that's what you have to do, right? But say you're at home, you just get up, you go home from work, and you really just want to have a nice filtered coffee and sit down and veg out for a bit, right? 4 teaspoons will give you about 20 grams. It's awesome. 4 heaped teaspoons, like good heaped teaspoons, will give you 20 grams. There's that. Roughly half a latte glass, roughly half a cup. It's around about 20 grams of ground coffee. Now, awesome tip number 2, if you're in a cafe and doing your espressos and stuff, and maybe I know one of my shops has we've got a couple of grinders, but we don't have a separate filter coffee station. So when I do sell one, I take my espresso grinder, and from where the grinder is set, if you turn it coarser, a quarter turn. So a quarter turn is all you need basically to go from espresso to filter with our commercial grinders. Right. You can go a lot coarser. A lot of people do, but I've found that is actually a really good rule of thumb. Just from wherever it is, just quarter turn on your grinder and go for it. Alright. Alright, so the coffee is in, like so. I'm ready to start pouring. Now what I'm going to do is just pour a little bit on the top. I'm going to start to create what's called a bloom. Yeah, show it to you here. So I just poured a little bit over the top, covered all the beans, all the grounds, and just letting that sit for a few seconds. That's called a bloom. That's basically just waking up the coffee. It's going to start to really get gassy. You'll see some kind of like things, some bubbles and stuff, and all that stuff that would be crema if it was on espresso come out now. Now after about 30 seconds or so, we just go to town on it. Just make sure you pour evenly, and I go to about a centimetre from the top, from the rim. And then all we got to do now is play the waiting game. We wait till that slows down to a drip, and then we pour again. And then we wait till that slows down to a drip, and then we pour again. Now your Chemex has this little knob thing here. That's basically your 3 cup mark. So that's a measuring guide. Obviously, yes, if you're in a big if you got your own like Chemex station or pour over station in your cafe, use everything you can there. But just especially just for ease, that's your marker, and you just keep going. Just keep going until, oh, that smells so good. As the water filters down through the coffee, you'll find that coffee granules will get stuck on the side of the filter. So as it slows down, as it's nearing that end of the pour, just when you pour the new water in, just pour around the sides, and that will make sure that we get we brew as much as we can out of that. And get all those grounds into it, get all that goodness in there. Okay, so I've reached my point. Looks nice and dark and lovely. It's going to have a great texture to it. Now what I do, you take the filter out like you would with your cup of tea, give it a good squeeze. Why? I just do. Some people don't, I just do. I like it. It's nice like that. Right. And straight into the compost. Right. Please compost your coffee waste. Whether you do it at home, at work, or anywhere, make sure you compost it. It's brilliant for the garden, and you're helping the earth basically. And there we go. There's our Chemex filtered coffee. Now I've actually used my blend here, the Velvet Hammer, which is an espresso blend, and it goes great. There's a lot of Guatemalan in it, so it's very sweet and very clean, and that flavour that comes out a lot when you make it a Chemex like this. Hey, look, just get yourself on and just get around it, because you can have so much fun with it, and you really see a different side of coffee, because we get a very alkaline taste. There's no acidity whatsoever in this, and it's not bitter or anything. It's like iced tea, but with more texture, more creaminess, and a more coffee flavour. Right. Thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned for episode number 3.